I'm just going to touch this so it doesn't go away.
Let's see. I think we are live.
Awesome. Happy to be here.
Double checking. I see some people dropping in already. We've got about 8 people here. So welcome. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I've got our great moderators. I see hi Queen, hi Tallulah, hi Larry girl. How you guys doing?
Thanks for your help.
Yes, thanks for your help. We are going to do another QA section. Section is the word I was looking for towards the end. So we definitely thank the 3 of you for being here and helping out. We're going to give it Lauren and I are just going to give it a couple more minutes just to see who else tunes in, and then we will pick up where we left off last week with the heart chakra. Lauren and I are sitting here. Last week. My phone is disrespectful. Lauren and I were chatting about quarantine life and the amount of people wearing masks and stuff that's going on between Georgia, Texas, and Virginia. And it's quite interesting.
So interesting. Everybody's handling this situation so differently.
Oh, I was just like, oh, okay.
Everyone's crazy is coming out.
Like, we'll see how this goes. Let's give it a couple more minutes because we've got I'm starting to see more people tune in. Awesome. Lauren, while we're just shooting a breeze for a minute, tell everybody a little bit more about yourself again, and just kind of reintroduce yourself and how long you've been teaching, and give us a fun fact about you.
Oh, fun fact. Okay, so my name is Lauren Margulies. If you're new to this class, this is the part 2, but welcome and thank you for being here. I am a yoga and meditation teacher, and I do energy work as well. And the chakra system is very near and dear to my heart. It's also very near and dear to my teachings. It's really kind of a staple of how I teach. It's incorporated into my yoga classes and as well as meditation. Fun fact about me. Well, I was born in Canada. That's always, a random.
I did not know you were Canadian.
I am. So my family's from Canada. So even you're learning something new.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So all the aunts, uncles, all that, they all live in Toronto. So.
Oh, I mean, just in Toronto.
Really?
I loved it. How old were you when you moved to the States?
I was little. I was like a little over 1. So. Okay. We've always gone back, multiple times a year. And so I feel like it's kind of part of who I am, even though it's distant.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I just learned that.
Isn't that funny? I love when that happens.
God. For those of you who want to, Lauren is an amazing, like she was saying earlier, a great yoga teacher. I actually was feeling kind of like icky earlier today, and I was like, I need to get on the mat. And I was like, who has a yoga class I don't hate? Lauren.
Thank you.
It was like a quick I did your chest opener.
Yeah.
It wasn't very long, super easy, because I hate downward facing dog more than anything in the world. And it was just like none of that. It was just like a nice opening breathe. So I say all that to say Larry Girl did put the link to Lauren's YouTube channel in the comment section. So guys, please go check her out. Go subscribe, like. She does more than just yoga. Again, she does guided meditations, just sound baths, a lot of great stuff on her channel. So please check her out.
Yeah, and I'm adding new stuff several times a week. So there's always new content coming out.
And then also check out her on Instagram, because she does a lot of stuff on Instagram as well. Probably a little bit more so on IG than YouTube, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I put the link to her Instagram channel in our description as well. It was so funny, Lauren. I went out for a walk Saturday and listened to your Saturday class. When I was like messaging, I was actually outside walking.
Oh my goodness.
And listening to this.
That's so cool. People keep reaching out to me saying that they're doing my classes outdoors. And that is like, to me, one of my most favorite parts of all of this craziness is that people can like be in nature while they're doing the classes. And that's such a beautiful way to really connect with everything around you.
Yes. I don't suggest trying to cross the street though when you're listening to the sound part of her meditation class, because that didn't end so well for me. It didn't end well. I didn't get hit by the car, but it was a little,
You're still here.
a little in the zone. We're gonna go ahead and get this kicked off, guys. So just a little refresher from last week. We started I like this, and different teachers do it differently. I know when Lauren teaches, she tends to go from the crown down to the root. I am the opposite for some reason. I feel like grounding is so important. So I like to go from the root to the crown. Regardless, we're going to go back through and show you where we started. So, and I'm going to have to actually move this because it's in front of my We started at the bottom, which is our root chakra, also known as our base chakra. Lauren, tell us, what is this the house of?
This is the house of security, stability, grounding, connecting to the earth, connecting to your body, all of that good stuff, that base level.
Next up is the sacral chakra, this beautiful orange color right there, which is our house of?
It's our creative center. It's our pleasure zone, which is sexual, but it's also a pleasure in life and things that bring us creative joy, self-expression, feelings, emotions, all of that is housed there.
Next up is our solar plexus chakra, the house of?
Our solar plexus is our space of personal power. This is our space of action where we recognize what we are meant to do and we move forth with confidence and security, and we inspire. And
where we left off last week with the
heart chakra. So the heart, we said last time, we both believe it's really the most important. Not that I like to play favorites with the chakra system, but the heart system is where everything connects. It's where your lower 3 energy centers tap into your upper 3 energy centers. And it's really another element of wisdom in our body. So we want to tune into that.
So we're going to actually pick back up with the heart chakra, because as Lauren was saying, this is by far one of the most, if not the most important chakra. It's the Sanskrit name for the heart chakra is the Anahata. Developmental, again, if you're going by the circle of 7, it develops between the ages of 22 and 28. Somewhere down there, if you follow Lauren and I's methodology, which is we don't really necessarily go by the circle of 7. Some say anywhere from the age of 15 all the way up to the age of 21. Why? Because that's usually typically when you start having your first high school boyfriend, first crush, kind of understanding that the flow of I love and I also can get my heart broken at the same time. So that's kind of why some people put that age, attach that age group to the Anahata. A couple things that are really important that we want to point out is there are some vices that are attached to the heart chakra that if you're not paying attention to can really stunt and and block the chakra. And I hate to say the word block for chakra. I know Lauren and I were talking about that last week, how chakras are really neither blocked, they're either deficient or overstimulated. But the heart chakra, and Lauren, tell me your opinion on this, is something I feel like if you were to use the word blocked on any chakra, it is the heart chakra. It can be the heart chakra.
Yes. I mean, yes, I would agree with that.
Yeah. 2 vices that we want people to keep in mind is ego and stubbornness. Those are 2 vices that are very, very tied to the heart chakra. The heart chakra is also the house of love, compassion, gratitude, all of that. So ego and stubbornness can block it. Yes. Lauren, tell me, can you help me dive into that a little bit and kind of explain why those vices show up that way in the heart chakra?
So, it's our center of love and it's our center of connection with other people. And I think, when we come into contact with certain people, things end up, a lot of people believe in that idea that things either come from love or from fear. And so when we get into that fearful space, I feel like that's when the ego tries to kick in and tries to kind of cover up And that to me is where you end up with that blockage, where you're trying to kind of push away love. You've either had negative experiences with members of your family or negative love experiences that have created this sense of like, I don't want to get hurt again. So I'm just going to push that away. I'm going to shove it down. And, with the comment about blockages, this is one area of our body where we do recognize the physical symptom of blockages in the heart, which I'm sure you're going to get into. But I do think that stubbornness is associated with that lack of lovability, of your ability to feel loved and your ability to give love. I think a lot of times creates that stubborn energy.
It does. There is a disease, and it was funny, I was watching Scrubs. Don't judge. I love it. Watching Scrubs, and there was the episode of the woman who died from a broken heart. And there's actually, I can't think of the name of the disease, but that actually exists. And the reason that exists is because of grief. Grief is another thing that stays attached to the heart chakra and can actually it's another thing that really blocks the heart chakra. I know some of the most giving people in the world, but if they are grieving or hold any type of grief, there's another thing that causes their heart chakra to be deficient. Huge deficiency. Another thing I kind of wanted to talk about too with the heart chakra. Lauren, tell us what it's like in its imbalanced state.
So in its imbalanced state, it's, maybe you're easily manipulated. Maybe you fall victim to relationships that are not fulfilling for you. So either you're fully giving yourself in that relationship and you're being taken advantage of in a certain way. It can also be vice versa, where you are the one that's kind of grabbing all the attention, all of the love, and not reciprocating and not giving in that same way. To me, blockages in the heart can lead to being really self-critical, really a lack of self-acceptance, and maybe even just antisocial, not wanting to connect with other people and wanting to just kind of stay in your own bubble because it feels safer to be that way.
Yeah. That's protection. This is the chakra where people become very, very protective and almost possessive with protecting their heart chakra. I wanted to go into something that I have seen not only firsthand through members of my family, but also, again, being a healer and working with people who have been cancer patients, just working with a lot of people, are actual physical ailments that have been people believe a direct result of an imbalanced heart chakra. Heart disease has been linked to having an imbalance in your heart chakra. Okay. High blood pressure is another disease that certain scientists who believe in, who study the energetic body, who also are medical doctors, also think that there's a link to high blood pressure. Another thing is breast cancer. So again, all the diseases that sit in your chest, in your heart, are diseases that can manifest because of a deficient heart chakra. Now, we're not sitting here and saying if you have a blocked heart chakra, you're going to get breast cancer. That's not what we're saying. We're saying they're showing, and there's been tons and tons of studies done to prove that there can be a direct link between a deficient heart chakra and breast cancer, high blood pressure, heart disease. So things to kind of keep in mind too. I have worked with patients who were breast cancer survivors who, as we uncover and do the work with them, really struggled with their heart chakra, grew up in abusive homes where love was not shown to them properly, or abusive relationships as adults, and really struggled with heart chakra. I had one client who actually developed breast cancer after the death of her mother.
Wow.
Because of grief, and wasn't able to properly heal the grief. So that's kind of one of the reasons why we really wanted to talk more in depth about the heart chakra. And just, this is like, again, the rest of the chakras, they're important, they're great, but there's so much attached to the heart chakra.
Yeah, I also believe part of it with, that inner guidance, to me, as much as it comes from, it comes from different elements, the third eye, as well as the sacral. But to me, the heart is also a center of wisdom. And so when we're disconnected in that space, there's sometimes a lack of direction of, where we should go in our lives, like where that real deep passion and love stems from. So I think that's another thing to consider.
Go into that more, because that's just the tip of the ice. Like, you gave a great synopsis, but think about it. If you're not guided and happy with what you're doing, you're not going to have a purpose-driven life.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And I think that when we, a lot of times we get caught up in the day-to-day life of, this is what this person wants for me, and this is what that person wants for me. And we end up just kind of following a path. And to me, one of the most important aspects of being checked in with your heart center is moving from that inner wisdom that we all have it. We're all born with it. And some of us just push it down, and some of us, kind of ignore it at different parts of our lives, different phases of our lives. But when you're more in tune with your heart center, to me, everything functions more fluidly. Everything is more connected, and you operate from that deeper sense of true calling, that deeper sense of, this is my path. There's more clarity when you're aligned in that center. So yeah, it affects it in all different ways.
It does. I had a psychic tell me once, who didn't know much about the chakra system. She was saying that when you are not aligned and you do not live your purpose-driven life, she's like, that's just going to have all of these impacts. I was like, yes, you mean on the heart chakra. She's like, oh, what? I was like, yeah, that makes sense. She's like, I'm constantly telling people, you are seeing this and this and this not go well in your life because you are not listening to your inner wisdom and going down the path of what your heart truly desires.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that causes more grief, so it's a cyclical element.
That's absolutely true. Guys, there are ways too, you can actually work on your heart chakra. In its balanced state, as Lauren's saying, with the imbalanced state, the balanced state is this ability not to just give love, but receive love. I clown people all the time on, you can be as giving as you want, but if you do not allow people to love on you, you still have a deficiency in your heart chakra.
Exactly.
You've got love it's reciprocal. You have to give it as much as you have to receive it, as much as you give it. Compassion. Compassion goes a long way. Compassion goes, again, from balance and that inner wisdom.
Yes. I just want to touch on something, sorry, is so important right now. We're in this state of like absolute divisiveness. There is so much division happening. And to me, part of being in your heart center and being connected, it's not that you have to align with everybody, because there's going to be people who have completely different views from you, but it's about having that compassion to recognize that we all have a set of circumstances that brought us to our own viewpoint. And even though it may be completely not aligned with you, and maybe it's something that you will never get behind, it's still that awareness of, this is a human being and they have a certain viewpoint, and finding a way to be respectful in how you come across, even if it's an argument, still having that level of respect for a human being. And I'm seeing a very strong lack of that right now. I don't know about you guys, but
yeah,
it's all over the place.
It's about acceptance, which is another state, balanced part of in a balanced state of your heart chakra. Acceptance does not mean I agree. Acceptance just means I accept. I accept you as a human. I accept that you have your perspective. I accept the situation for what it is, and I can't change it.
Exactly.
And that is a balanced heart chakra. Always the expression, it is what it is. I used to hate that when I was younger. I was like, no, it's not. You can change. And now I'm like, no, actually, sometimes it is what it is surrender to, I cannot change the outcome. I can only change how it impacts me.
Yes. You change how you respond.
And that is all about having a healthy, balanced heart chakra. Also, patience. Patience is also really developed starting in your sacral, but really, really comes to full development in your heart chakra.
I agree with that.
Some foods you can eat. When we were talking about last episode about eat the rainbow, so some foods you can eat to help with your heart chakra: broccoli, kale, lettuce, sprouts. Hello, are we like Not surprised. The green foods help. The element. Oh, we didn't mention the element earlier, Lauren.
Yeah, it's the element of air. Yeah, that's right. So this is also our space of breathing. So, thinking about the lungs are a part of the heart chakra, and how we breathe affects the whole world.
Yes. Element of air. This is another reason why this is one of my favorite chakras, being an air sign. For crystals, if you're into those, rose quartz is the crystal, the most prominent crystal assigned to the heart chakra. And go into our favorite topic, Lauren, essential oils.
I think eucalyptus is one of my favorites for the heart chakra, because it really helps to open up the lungs. It helps you to breathe deeper and just taps you right into that space. So that's my number one or cypress or something else that's like really in that family.
I like bergamot.
Oh, bergamot's good too.
It has so many healing properties, a lot of spiritual properties if you're into rituals, as well as just smelling absolutely yummy. Mm-hmm. If you guys wonder why hippies wear patchouli so much, patchouli is about love. That's another oil tied to the heart chakra.
That's right.
Think about it. Peace, love, and happiness.
Yes.
Patchouli. So that is the heart chakra. Again, and no, I'm going to ask a retort or a question. You guys don't have to answer it, but just something for you guys to think about. Think about people in your life who have struggled with heart disease, who have struggled with breast cancer, with any kind of lung issues. How are they? Do you believe the theory that those type of illnesses have a link to the heart chakra? Think about people and does that make sense to you? And if it does, how can you take care of not just your physical health, but your energetic health as well, so you can avoid getting those types of diseases? Unless they're hereditary, we get it. There's things you can't control. But if it's not, how can we take care of our whole body?
Yes.
So we can be in alignment. So our next chakra going up is the throat chakra, which is this beautiful blue color. Lauren, can you introduce this chakra for us?
Okay, so our throat chakra is also known as the Vishuddha, and this is our space of communication. This is the center of how we express ourselves. This is associated with the color blue, which I should say right away. And this is all about how we communicate, but not only how we share ourselves, but also how we receive communication. So it's the give and take, just like with the heart. There's how we express ourselves into the world, but it's also how we receive others and allow ourselves to be open to recognize, again, that there are other opinions. And it doesn't mean that we have to align with them, but still taking in other people's version of their reality so that we can expose ourselves to a greater sense of understanding of the world around us.
Absolutely. The biggest vice in the throat chakra is miscommunication. Whether you miscommunicate or you misunderstand something that was communicated to you.
Yes.
Talk about the imbalance. What does the heart chakra look like in an imbalanced state that can cause this perpetual cycle of miscommunication?
Yeah. So if you're hesitating on how you express yourself, that's going to create miscommunication, that sense of fear of how you share yourself. Your lack of sharing at all. Some people just, they're like, oh, I'm never going to convince them of anything, so I'm just not going to express myself at all. That's how you're going to get really kind of bogged down into that space. There's also like different elements of movement and tonality, like tone deaf and things like that can be a sign of imbalance. If you're having if you're afraid to sing in front of people, which is a big one for a lot of people. And listen, not everybody has a good voice. And it's like, I totally get it. That's something I for sure struggle with, and which you'll laugh because the class that I used to lead all the time is chanting, and I have to always chant louder than everybody so that everybody else feels comfortable. But that alone is out of my comfort zone. It took me a long time to get to that place, but difficulty kind of finding your words, difficulty expressing your words, and also like being really combative. If somebody shares something and you immediately are, going to come back at them with some type of negative response, or you're just trying to one up them and you're not actually taking in, which to me, this is one of the biggest expressions in the throat. And this is a really famous saying, and I have no idea who it is credited to this, but there's a reason that we have 2 ears and only 1 mouth. It's so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. And the truth is that the truest respect we can show to somebody is actually taking in what they're sharing and really honoring them as a person, and then responding accordingly versus trying to kind of speak over people. So for some people, an overactive version would be somebody who never stops talking, somebody who always has to be the one that's expressing themselves. For somebody who's a little bit more on the deficient side, it's going to be the person who never wants to share and just kind of sits off listening to everybody else.
That's so true. For those of you, which is I believe most of you guys who are tuned in right now, whenever, did I pull it? No. Whenever, when I'm doing our weekly chakra insight oracle, or when I'm reading with Johnny or Tallulah, and we read on certain people within a certain administration, and they get their throat chakra, I'm always like, this is their house of speaking truth.
Right.
And their ability to communicate divine truth, not the truth as they perceive it, but divine truth from the universe. And if you are not speaking that, that's another way that it shows up as an imbalance in the throat chakra.
I like that.
What about, and I actually have an interesting story about the throat chakra. When I did my Reiki level 1, so the first time I got my attunement, I had moved to a new job where I was working for a boss who, I'm just going to be very honest, was hell on wheels. Did not, even no matter what you did, no matter when you speak, it was always wrong. She did not listen to you. She listened to yell at you. It was just a really horrible situation. So I lost my voice. I literally became, you telling that person who listens too much and doesn't speak, it brought me back to that time in my life. And I mean, I can tend to be pretty quiet anyway, but this was just, I never spoke. And so when I did my attunement, Lauren, my throat was on fire for days, and it swelled.
Wow.
Because it was working so hard to build my throat chakra back up. I was like,
interesting.
I need to learn to use my voice again.
I so relate to that. I'm like so with you. When I was doing yoga teacher training, I was struggling in this department so strongly, where I was like, I can't get up and teach to a room full of people. Like, they're going to judge me and I can't express myself that way. And I will tell you, chanting is what helped me really kind of break down those barriers, was using my voice. I did it by myself in my room. I would sit there and just make sounds, and that like really created a sense of freedom. But for me, whenever I used to get sick, and this still happens, I just don't get sick very often, but my throat is always, no matter what sickness I'm coming down with, it's like my glands get really swollen and I can't swallow. And it used to happen to me so much more often. Now that I don't have that imbalance, it happens very, maybe once a year, but it used to be a regular occurrence where I would feel that sense of swelling, same kind of thing. So I very much relate to that.
It's insane. And even as healers, we're like, that's crazy. It makes sense, but it's so crazy.
It's true. And I think, just real quick, we've said this last time, but it's so true how things manifest in the body. So we said it about the heart, we're saying it again about the throat. And that's something to it's a really powerful way to observe what's happening to you energetically, to be aware of what's happening in the physical body.
Symptoms, again, swollen glands, sore throat.
Yes.
People who are habitual coughers are full of shit, because they're typically because it's manifesting itself through their throat chakra, their mind.
Yeah.
So, or either withholding truth or not telling the full truth. That I know several people like that. It never fails. Lauren, let's go back. Let's talk about let's talk about the color, the elements, the foods, and what it looks like in its balance.
Blue. The color for the throat chakra is blue. And what I'll say also is, it's not just in the front. It's just like all of the chakras. They are the whole center. So it's the back of the neck as well as the sides of the neck. This is typically associated with ether, which is kind of this subtle energy. And it's kind of this ethereal energy that's between the worlds. And I like that, because our throat is where we can kind of get caught up in that in between if we allow ourselves to be open in that space. foods you would eat with the throat would be anything blue. So blueberries, blackberries, anything in that color family. Blue's a little harder to come by. I can't think of any others right now.
Also liquids are really
yes. Oh, good point. Liquids. Yes. And something else I want to say, I listened to something recently that was eye-opening for me, but a deficiency was associated with smoking.
Yes, that was one of the vices.
Yeah. And I was like, that's so true, because you're like taking in that smoke into your throat, and it's like, it's that need to fill that void. It's like you're trying to fill it with something physical instead of, healing that space. So, yeah. Well, did I miss part of that?
And another thing too, grinding your teeth.
Oh, good one. Yes.
Hearing issues are to that physical manifestations of the heart chakra. That's so for you chain smokers and for your teeth grinders.
Something there.
But we cover all of that with everything we need to cover. I believe we did, right?
So, yeah.
Go up to our next chakra, which is this beautiful, beautiful indigo color. This is our ajna. This is our third eye chakra. Lauren, take it away for the third eye.
So our third eye is the center between the eyebrows, but it also goes to the back of the head. This is where we envision this kind of indigo light. And this is our center of intuition. That is like the main guidance of our third eye center. So it's where we can transcend our physical sight and access this higher level of awareness. It's a sense of guidance that attaches to a higher level of consciousness. So when we kind of tune into this recognition that our bodies, as you like to say, a meat suit, that we're kind of moving, which is hysterical. Every time I hear it, it makes me laugh.
I stole it from somebody. I can't take credit for it.
But it's when we recognize that, like, this is just our vessel, and we are something bigger than what's happening. And it's where we kind of access that download. And in this center, we talked about this briefly last time, where it's associated also with the sacral, where we talk about that kind of gut instinct. There is a connection point between those two, where you feel that gut response when we're receiving and downloading information. To me, when you're tuned in to the third eye, there is a sense of clarity that just kind of comes about, where you don't have to question things as much. And if you are really questioning something, then sitting with that center, to me, is a really powerful way to receive answers and receive that wisdom that is already within you, but it's also coming from a higher source of awareness.
Yeah, you gave me goosebumps, because that's true. Thank you for touching too, how it's so amazing how the solar plexus and the third eye are so interconnected. And I know we talked about this a little bit last week. If you see, depending on the imbalance in the the solar plexus.
I said sacral. I messed that up. Yeah.
No, I think you said solar plexus. I just said sacral. You're going to see 9 times out of 10, you're going to see a little offness, and it may not in some way in your third eye. 9 times out of 10 too, it's going to be a overzealous third eye chakra and an underdeveloped sacral. I said it again. So chakra, because your third eye is trying to overcompensate for how you're not trusting your gut instinct. It's intense. I don't know about you, but I know both to empaths and highly intuitive people, I'm going to be the first to admit my third eye chakra it's always over. I'm always having to dial it down, because one of the signs of a imbalanced third eye chakra is overthinking.
Yes.
Anxiety.
Yes.
Depression. Because you're taking in everything and you're not filtering it the way it needs to be filtered, and you're not trusting your gut. There's not an alignment between this solar plexus. You got it. Between the solar plexus and the third eye. So those of you out there, and If you're constantly, why am I overthinking? There's a difference between being analytical and overthinking.
Right.
That may be because you're having an issue with your third eye chakra.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if you're kind of like out in the wind and a bus can hit you and you wouldn't notice it, that also means there may be some deficiencies in your third eye chakra and your ability to kind of take in what you're getting.
Yes.
I always butcher this word because I want to pronounce it like another part of the body, but the pineal gland is the gland that actually sits right by, it's tied to your third eye chakra. That's when it's calcified, that means you have an imbalance in your third eye.
The pituitary gland, is that right?
No, pineal.
Okay. Yes, pineal. Sorry. Okay. Yes. Yeah, and I think when you're lacking awareness in the third eye, you can have a challenge with visualizing yourself too. So like visualizing your future and a lack of creative awareness about yourself for the future, kind of, where a sense of guidance for where you could go. And I think that can be, that lack of perception is really where that attunes you to, where you're like, I can't be perceiving my future because I'm not clear in that center.
I can't visualize it. So how can I tune into it? It's so, that's so incredibly true. I catch myself, and Lauren, tell me, you go through this. I can see a situation. I see the beginning, middle, and end. And I'll look at people and we're talking about it. And then they're like, how do you see that? And I'm like, how do you not see it? It's right there.
You're intuitive on another level than me, but yeah.
But that's when I have to go.
Yeah.
Third eye's overactive right now.
Yeah.
Take a step back.
Right.
They'll catch more. Take a step back. So you don't have that. So never mind.
Every once in a while I'll get some type of download or vision, but I don't rest in that space enough that I'm seeing like full-blown visions for people. That's your special gift.
No, it's just like it's a situation. I'm like,
yeah, no, but that's a special gift. It is. And it's part of your tarot reading and how you download this information for these other people that you're reading for. That's part of the beauty of what you do, for sure.
The gift I was given, it's just, I feel there are people
using it
much better than I do.
No.
It was really interesting. Talk about too, isn't there also practicing yoga? Isn't there also a direct link between yoga and opening your third eye?
I do believe that. Yes. I believe it's, yoga is all about, some people think it's a physical practice. To me, it's so much more than a physical practice. It's moving your body in ways to open up your energy centers, to access a deeper connection between all of them. To me, when my yoga practice is strong, I am for sure more connected to a sense of perception and a sense of guidance and intuition. It's also taps into my meditation practice as well. But the yoga practice opens up all of the channels in your body. So it's this more fluid awareness of yourself that rises up, and that rising up helps you connect to your higher self again. So it's just another tool to access this better awareness of your life.
I should practice more yoga.
Don't should yourself, you do it. Do what works for you.
If it wasn't for downward facing dog, I would totally do it.
I've been trying really hard with my classes lately to do almost no vinyasas. There is some down dog, but I'm not doing the whole boring, same flow over and over again. And it's exactly for the energetic body reason that I'm like, we need to be doing different things to move energy in different ways.
We do. Thank you for that. We do. Yeah. So guys, again, things also to keep in mind about your third eye chakra. Do some of you guys have insomnia or issues staying asleep? Ding, 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 ding. That's another result of an imbalanced third eye chakra. Imbalance again for third eye could be undercharged or overcharged. Okay. Another thing that happens is I know people who surround themselves with people who are a little bit more of dreamers. and who are in a fantasy world, that's a result of the person who surrounds themselves by those people. They also have a deficiency in their third eye chakra. So something that's very fascinating. We talked about the element, which is light.
Yes.
Some crystals too, lapis lazuli. I actually keep them in the boxes, I should say, another collection of tarot cards to kind of not necessarily open me, but also keep that perception energy open with the cards. And amethyst is another good crystal for third eye chakra. Talk about foods, Lauren.
Ooh, foods. I'm not sure on the foods with the third eye. You're going to have to help me on this one.
Okay, well, foods that are rich in omega-3s. So get lots of salmon. That's another good one. Cacao.
Yeah, cacao is one for sure. Yes. Hard too, but yeah.
I'm going to help you cheat, Lauren. Name some purple foods.
Some purple foods. Blackberries, I guess, would be in the same line. Eggplant.
There you go.
Cabbage. That I did know.
Boom, 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 boom. Named them.
Back to me.
The next three that I was going to list.
Oh, good. Is it? That's funny.
Literally, eggplant, purple cabbage, and purple sweet potatoes are also really good foods for helping to balance out your third eye chakra. So, and last but not least, girl, list the essential oils. Get it feeling good.
Man, my favorite one is a blend from Young Living called Highest Potential. I love that for my third eye. There's just something about it that I put that on and I'm in it. I am like super connected.
Love it.
You.
What about, isn't White Angelica?
White Angelica is good as well. That clears energy. So it really helps you kind of access your own energetic awareness.
Nice. Clary sage.
Clary sage is a good one. Yes.
Lavender.
Yeah. Yes.
Peppermint. And lemon. And for those of you guys who have sinus problems, I'm so glad I just thought of this.
Yes.
Also directed to an imbalance in your third eye chakra.
Yes.
A lot of family members have sinus problems, and that's because they come from a crazy family of intuitives who some of them realize that they are, and some don't realize that they are. They all have sinus problems. So every year, we always go and as a family, don't judge us, but we're like the Brady Bunch, and we go to Georgia. We go to Sprouts, and we go stock up on lavender, peppermint, and lemon essential oils, and you can actually put them in your diffuser, 2 drops of each, if you have sinus problems, and can help diffuse that to kind of again get everything open. And you can breathe. You're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. You're opening up your third eye, and you're getting rid of your sinus at the same time.
Yes. That combo is great for allergies. And allergies are, it's associated still because it's all that congestion that happens, and it, gets exacerbated.
I'm going to bring up one last thing about the third eye chakra before we move on to the crown. And this one's going to be a little controversial, but not really. Another physical manifestation of a imbalanced third eye chakra is drug abuse. And there are a lot of people who have a lot of psychic gifts or are very highly in tuned who either abuse drugs or alcohol. So that is, it's a way to kind of help block out the additional information, is that escapism. From the information that you're getting through the third eye chakra. So that's another thing. Ask yourselves when you pick up a glass of wine, is it because I'm relaxing, or is it because I'm running away from something? Or do you know people who have who are addicted to drugs? Let's come from a place of compassion. Or maybe we don't know what people are going through in their demons. This could be one that they're trying to escape. So just something else to keep in mind to make sure that we're living a full heart chakra by not judging and having that compassion. So last but not least, we're going to say the Sanskrit name together. This is our last and final chakra, this beautiful purple color. And we'll say it together. 1, 2, 3. It's
Sahasrara. Did you just let me say it and you just pretended?
No, I said it. the only one that I like love saying. It's for Sahasrara is the crown chakra. It's this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful purple color. This is our ability to connect with universe, enlightenment, interconnectivity, interdependence, another house of wisdom, and general awareness. Lauren, what is its, what can you tell us its color, which I kind of already did, but it's our element.
It's violet. So it's a lighter version of the purple that we found in the lower variation. So a lighter version of that. Some people also associate it with the color white, you know, because it's that like white light of energy that can surround your body. But I like violet. For me, that's kind of connected to me. And it's about our place of higher consciousness. So it's where we move beyond our own realm of our day-to-day reality and recognize that there's a grander scheme of awareness that is always accessible to us.
I like to think of violet too, because it's the color of royalty.
I like that.
And there is a story that the reason why royalty, purple was for royalty, not just because it was, the color was so hard to produce, so it shows opulence, but also that connection to God-like energy, that force, that universal connection.
I love that.
Yeah. In its balanced state, you're going to feel blissful. You're going to understand that there's something bigger than you. So while we say the root chakra is about connecting to earth, I like to simplify it and say crown chakra is your connection to the universe, your connection to everything. That's when you realize that we're all interconnected. You're the speck of sand on the beach.
Exactly.
Not only do you recognize it, but you find joy in it. You understand it. It's not this, you don't feel diminished by it. You feel empowered.
Yes.
By it.
Yes.
Tell us what it's like in its imbalanced state.
So in its imbalanced state, it's comes back to ego for me, where you're really stuck in your ego because you think that you're the only one that exists. That can be one way that it really manifests. You can be really skeptical about spirituality, like where you think that it's all kind of a crock, and you know, you think that you're the only thing, and when you're gone, you're gone. And I've seen that a lot for people that are just completely disconnected from the crown, where they to something beyond themselves. You know, you can be more materialistic, like you care more about the earthly desires of what makes you feel comfortable in this lifetime, not recognizing about the impact of how that affects the world. You know, somebody who really doesn't consider the circle of life would be another possible deficiency, where you're not honoring that there will be other people that come after you, and that you're just a part of the chain of the cycle of life. I think is a big one. Yeah.
That's the biggest one is ego and inability to connect. With, inability to connect with others.
Yes.
Ego, that goes into the same. Another thing that I see how it manifests itself in a physical form is the inability to be mindful and to actually meditate.
Right.
Being a meditation teacher, I tell people that meditation is not sitting in silence and working everything out. That is actually the antithesis of good meditation. It is focusing on one thing simultaneously for a prescribed period of time. So it is, I wish joy and happiness to the world. You visualize, you think joy and happiness to the world. That's the only thing you're focused on for 5, 10, 3 minutes. If it's, I just want to breathe, that's all you're doing. And people who immediately go, I can't meditate, that's hard. You don't have a connection with your crown chakra.
Yes.
Some other physical things, light sensitivity is one that always seems to manifest itself physically in the crown chakra. And two that are just now really being studied in depth is dementia and schizophrenia.
Yep. Those
are two physical manifestations of an imbalanced Sahasrara.
Yeah. Yeah, to me also, like brain injuries and headaches can be another manifestation of how it reflects into and as you said, kind of loss of memory, but also loss of, you know, connection points, like losing your connection points can also, to me, reassociate back to that.
Yes, absolutely.
Like disconnection.
Some things, you guys, foods, think about the same purple foods again. So your purple cabbage, your eggplant. So lots of omega-3 rich foods again, because that helps boost brain function.
That's true.
So think that again. Yeah, and then last but not least, Lauren, list out these essential oils, friend.
Oh, list the essential oils. Oh, this is a hard one. I haven't thought about this one for a while. I have an essential oil that is called Believe that I really love for that, because it's believing in this high, for me, I use it that way, believing in this higher sense of awareness, and it helps me kind of tune into that. I love citrus oils for the crown.
Yeah.
They're really light, and that lightness helps me feel a little bit more out of my body and a little bit more in this higher realm of consciousness.
I love neroli.
Oh, neroli is amazing. The
Yeah.
smell of neroli is, oh my goodness.
It's like the most yummy.
So
good. Myrrh is another good one, and jasmine.
Yeah, that is. Uh-huh.
Those are all really good. So that is the crown chakra. Let's take a moment and actually open up to the chat if there's any questions that you guys have that you want to ask Lauren and I, or Lauren, or whichever one of us, and we can answer those. Yes, Larry girl, I teach meditation too. I know, I'm weird.
Jack of all trades.
And a master of zero.
Oh no, that's not true.
So we get, is chakras another name for Sanskrit? Another name for the wheel?
Yes. We talked about that last week. Yeah. It's about spinning wheels of energy. And that's why I was saying it's never just coming out of the front part of the body. It's also coming out of the back, because it's that circular cyclical energy that moves through each of the 7 spaces. And then so each one circulates on its own, and then all 7 also circulate through each other. So there's that circulation happening in multiple ways.
Yes. And are there 7 chakras? There are 7 main chakras, but there have actually been up to 10 that have been studied and identified. I always like to keep it simple, because there are so many books and resources available for people. I feel like if you can't master the 7, 9, 8, 9, and 10 are just going to throw you for a loop.
Right.
And there's still a lot of debate too and discussion about chakras, but there are 7 main chakras, but they're up to 10.
Yes.
It has been said that there is a similar tissue in the brain that is also in the heart. Is that because of the chakra in the heart?
I don't know directly about what you're speaking to, but I do believe, I have read studies on how they've found that the heart acts as another brain in the body, which is why when we talked about the heart chakra, we discussed how it's like, if you're disconnected from that space, your body's not going to function properly, and you're not leading from that deeper sense of truth and awareness. So our heart does affect all of these other elements of our body. So it makes perfect sense to me that the tissues would be the same as the brain, because the heart is considered another brain in the body.
Yeah.
So
that is absolutely true. I couldn't have said it better. I was like, I have nothing to add. That's true. Someone says, I find myself looking directly up when I'm looking to understand a message from spirit. Is this a way of their third, trying to look through their third eye, or is it overthinking?
Interesting. I think you go ahead if you were about to say something.
No, go ahead.
I think it depends on what you're doing in those moments when you're looking up. Are you thinking in those moments, or are you trying to access clarity? So I think it could go either way depending on what's happening to you in those moments. Mm-hmm. I do believe that there is this, when you go into this higher state of meditation and you allow your eyes to lift up, you can connect to something beyond. And so it can be used as a way to access that higher awareness, as long as you're not in a rat race thinking while you're doing that. If you're in a state of meditation while you're doing it, then it's you accessing your third eye.
Yeah, I was going to say it depends on, I have a psychological answer, and then I have a spiritual answer.
Yeah.
Psychological answer would be, is this a learned behavior? Is this just something that you subconsciously have always done from childhood and never have it stopped? And so you're just now attributing to, hey, I look up when I'm trying to get answers. It could be just that simple. That's just something you developed in childhood and have continued on. The spiritual answer kind of goes to what Lauren says. If you are actually looking up and there is a place of surrender where you actually feel your body relax and you're looking up and you're actually asking, universe, can you guide me? Then yes, you are looking up to seek universal guidance. Mm-hmm. So it could be both or one or the other. Mm-hmm. Were the colors, these beautiful colors that we attribute to the chakras, taken from the rainbow, Lauren?
They were. Yes, they are in order of the rainbow. And so that's, yeah, that is correct.
Yep, they absolutely were. What other questions do we have? Those were really good questions.
I want to touch on the heart math. I see somebody commented about heart math, and that's so interesting because one of my longtime students is a heart math coach, and he just recently gave me a heart math detector that you put on when you meditate, and it tracks what's happening in your heart, and it's all about heart coherence. And so that's where we access that brain and heart connection. And when he told me about that a long time ago, he was saying how I naturally do that in my meditation classes, where I always realign the heart and the brain. And it's just because for me, it's an energetic body thing. So it's interesting to know the science. And so I'm excited that somebody wrote about heart math, because he is an amazing teacher.
Yeah, I actually am going through a heart math certification.
Awesome. Of course you are.
It's actually something I started before I even moved from Dallas. It was a recommendation from another friend and coach mentor. Just starting. So I can't wait to see how that unfolds, because it's going to be very fascinating. I'm glad you guys mentioned that.
Yeah.
Question. I'm going to read it because I tried to read it and interpret it, and I think my throat chakra is off, so I'm going to just read it. I get these weird waves of adrenaline, then a tingling feeling in different chakras when I'm inquiring of spirit, and when using divination tools. Physically and spiritually, what do you know this to be?
I think that's a good one for you.
It depends. If you were getting a wave of adrenaline or a tingling or a feeling, I'm going to say you were coming on board and you're getting a sign from another realm, whether that is a psychic vision, so you're trying to get a hit. Your body will tell you and will do things to alert you that something's coming. I attribute that to if you're just around someone and like your body is like, or you find it hard to speak, or you just start getting jumpy, that's an energy match. Your energy is not in alignment with that other person's energy. Your body knows way before you do, your energetic body, that person is about to be some BS. Stay away. To be adverse to that, if you are asking for spiritual guidance, or if you're trying to get an answer using a tool and you get a tingling, that's giving you a confirmation, that's doing something to alert your body, that spirit is telling you, yes, do this. T doesn't mind me saying this. I remember watching Tallulah was doing a live many months ago, and somebody asked her when she spreads her cards, how does she know which one to pick? And she said her left eye twitches. That is a sign that universe, her psychic body is telling her, pick this card, because these cards that you're looking at, that your eye is twitching, is telling you that it's going to give you the story that you need when you pull the cards.
I love that answer. One thing I would add, because I think exactly what you said is so what I was already thinking, but everybody's body receives different signs. So like you just said, Tallulah, her eye twitches. And for somebody, it may be your finger, wiggles or something like that. Mm-hmm. So it's also being more in tune with yourself to start recognizing what those signs mean, because we all receive them. And when we're more open, you can start to say like, okay, this is what's happening. And then, I'm recognizing that this is the response that it requires. So, but yeah, for sure. It's, to me, downloading information and spirit talking to you.
You can also train your body to give you a sign. One of Echo Bodine's book, I can't remember which one. And I would want to say the blue one with the feather, but then I like her catalog and there's like 4 books from her that are blue with feather. So one of her books is talking about how you raise your psychic abilities. And one of them is, again, going to that solar plexus chakra in your gut and asking yourself, is this the answer that my psychic sense is giving me? And you hold it in your stomach. And your stomach will either kind of tingle or your stomach will relax. And those are ways to know, okay, and there's a whole exercise she goes through that's actually very helpful. So for weeks, when I was much younger, I actually tested it and I went to a Ross and I was like, okay, Spirit, am I going to find the lampshades that I want at this Ross? And I did the exercise and my stomach tingled. I was like, hell yes. And I actually did find the lampshades I want. It worked. So you can actually train your body. And like Lauren was saying, give me the sign. How do I want to receive this message? Is it in my stomach? Is it my eyes kind of twitch? What is it going to be? Recognize it, practice it, and use it.
I love that. That's awesome.
So we are done with, we don't have any more questions in the thread. So thank you guys so much for asking questions. Before we end, we did put some resources for those of you who want to do some more independent study on chakras. I know Lauren and I mentioned this book last week, but I actually put it in the chat this week. This is another one called Eastern Body, Western Mind. This is another one from Dr. Judith. Absolutely amazing. This one goes more into, like Lauren was saying last week, more of the psychology behind the chakra system, as well as the physical.
Yeah, exactly. The other book that we had this week is Your Auras and Your Chakras. And I love this, the owner's manual. It's by Carla McLaren. And this one's a little bit more ethereal, whereas, Eastern Body, Western Mind is very dense. This one is a little bit lighter than exactly.
Yes,
I lent my copy to somebody a few years ago who really needed it and never got it back. So I had to. I'm like, as long as he read it at some point, I'm totally fine with it, like releasing it out into the universe. But finally, I was like, I need it on Audible, so I downloaded it years ago because I'm like, But this one's a little bit lighter. So, but to me, they're both awesome guides to help you really better understand your energetic body.
They're absolutely fantastic resources. So check them out. I also have made a cheat sheet because I'm just that kind of person. I'm going to figure out the best way for you guys to be able to download it. I made a cheat sheet of all the chakras that we just mentioned. It's Western name and its Sanskrit name. No, I did not put how to pronounce it in Sanskrit. I'm cool, but I'm not that great. And just, again, what it looks like in its balanced state, its imbalanced state, foods, and it's just a quick little punch list for each chakra. So check us out later, and we'll post how you can download that cheat sheet. And last but not least, Lauren, this has been absolutely fun. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me. I've absolutely loved it. It feels like playtime. It's just one of my favorite topics, and I love being with you. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I do think we're probably going to do this again sometime in the near future. We're going to think of maybe doing some kind of chakra something. Well, more details to come later, but we know that this has been a lot of this. Last week's session got so much good positive feedback, and that's due to all of you guys for tuning in. So thank you guys so very much for watching. In the meantime, if you have any more questions about the chakra system, don't hesitate to reach out to me via email. That's redlentilhealing@gmail.com. You can also reach out to Lauren. I just volunteered you, girl. Your email address is a little bit more easy to remember. What is that?
It's BSG Yoga. So that's my Instagram name too. It's for Breathe, Stretch, Grow, but bsgyoga@gmail.
Yep. So reach out to either one of us. We can help you. I'll also post the information when we do our official chakra. Maybe it should be chakra chat.
Oh, I like that.
Chakra chat.
Yes. Look at you getting downloads right here.
Chakra chat. We'll do another little chakra chat in the next, maybe, and we're going to keep it informal, maybe once a month, and just kind of do another one of this. Go back over some chakras, do Q&A session, and just talk about what's really going on and how we can help people.
Love it.
All right, guys, thanks again so much. Thank you for all the moderators who joined in. Thank you guys so much. I also saw Becca from House of Lenormand reminding everybody to hit the thumbs up. So thank you so much for doing that, Becca. Thank you, Larry Girl and Tallulah and to Queen. You guys are amazing. Guys, please take a deep breath. We'll get through this. Remember, a lot of this insanity right now is hitting our root chakra the hardest.
Yes.
So go hug some trees, guys, and ground yourself.
Yeah.
Until next time, take care. Bye.
Thank you.